Hi, welcome to Kaukauna Public Library's Exploring Art for Adults. This is a beginner's class and we will just be exploring art through colored pencils. This class specifically, we just assumed that most people have access to colored pencils. So this is not something that you needed to sign up for, register, or get a kit for, because we are going to make this available to all of you. Just assuming that you have colored pencils at the ready. So all you're gonna need today is a piece of paper and some colored pencils. I am gonna be using green, yellow, orange, maybe some dark green, black, red, and brown. And as we go, I'll kind of say those colors again. And then instead of a large piece of paper, go ahead and fold your paper in half, because then it makes the lesson just a little bit more manageable. So if you've got your colored pencils, let's begin. All right. So as we begin, you can either do the first sketch of your pear. We're going to draw a pear today. First sketch of your pear with the black pencil that you have, or a regular pencil with an eraser on it. I don't get too technical because sometimes I feel like if I get real technical, then I'll want to erase everything. So we're going to start out with a general pear shape. Hopefully you guys can see this. Maybe I'll make mine a little bit darker, and you really don't have to be very specific about it. Just a general light, faint sketch of a pear. Pears are not perfect, so if they have little flaws in how they look, that's okay. You can change the shape as we go with colored pencils. So a general pear shape. Sometimes when people are sketching, they'll sketch, oh, I don't know, a smaller circle on the top and then a smaller circle on the bottom, and then all the other colors kind of blend right in once the other colors come into play. So once you have the general shape of a pear, we'll go ahead and we'll begin. And we'll start with our, believe it or not, we're gonna start with yellow. We're gonna sandwich yellow a lot here. So we're gonna start working with yellow on the outside of our pear, and we're going to go with the contour of the pear, and we're gonna go nice and light, but kind of giving the pencil, more of a horizontal feel in your hand. So not perpendicular, but maybe horizontal. And we're gonna go with the shape of the pear and just lay down a bunch of yellow here around the outside of the pear. And then what's really important is we're going to leave the center white at this point, because we're going to give the illusion that there is a highlighted portion of the pear, which just means that the source of light coming into the room is coming in directly straight onto the pear. So I'm just going to draw and color my yellow in towards the center, but I'm just at this point leaving it nice and white. Although it will get colored in later, we're gonna just leave that there for our own minds to understand that this is the lightest portion of the pear because the light source is hitting that part of the pear. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna use what's called, it's called cross-hatching technique. Cross-hatching technique is when you use your pencil with long strokes that are parallel to each other, that kind of go into the contour of the piece that you're coloring, and again on the opposite side the exact same way, and you'll lay those parallel lines down, and then what you're going to do is you're going to reverse the direction of the lines almost like an X. So my lines went towards the right corner of my page and up to the right, and now I'm going to make them go down towards the right hand lower corner in like a cross-hatching X. Again, making sure don't color too much of the center here because that's our light source. Cross-hatching technique is weird when you first look at it because you just cannot even imagine that this is going to contribute to the overall look of a color that is on a certain object. But it is a very good technique to blend. The wonderful thing about colored pencils is that they actually were created in order for the artist to blend colors, and so that you're not actually always coloring with a true color, but you're blending multiple colors to get together to get a great overall complexity to the color of the piece that you're drawing. So again, we're doing cross hatching, still maintaining all the way down the pear, cross hatching. And again, I'm going to go all the way down on this side. All right, and I'm going to go across the bottom here. All right, so at this point you have 2 colors down. And now what we're going to do, I'm going to go in the middle just a little bit, is we're going to go ahead and pick up brown. We're gonna do lots and lots of layers of colors for the pear. We're gonna pick up brown, and we're gonna primarily use brown for shading. The shading of the pear is gonna only pretty much be maintained on the sides of this pear. We're gonna continue the cross hatching kind of long stroked effect, going just along the edge of the pear, and certainly down the bottom, because of course the shade and the light source doesn't always go right underneath the base of the pear, so you're going to want to make sure to get the sides, the bottom, and a bit of the top. I'm just doing the first foundation of my crosshatch with the brown, which is just the parallel strokes, long parallel strokes, and now I'm going to go in the opposite direction, just as I did with the green, making that X kind of a look. And I'm going to work my way down the exact same areas that I had just done with the brown to begin with, all the way across that shaded area of the pear, which of course is the contour of the pear. All right, so I've got the brown. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to use, if you have a lighter green or if you have a darker green that you use, it really doesn't matter. We're going to just use the opposite green that you had, or just pick up the darker green again. And this time what we're going to do is we're almost going to be fuzzy about it, and we're going to use circular motions to cover the areas that we have already laid color down. So circular motions kind of do 2 things. It kind of takes away the sharp lines of the cross hatching. Let's just do the outline first. And then the other thing that it does is it blends the colors together, these colored pencils together at the same time as it takes away those sharp lines that we just put down. Because this is a lighter green, I am using quite a bit of pressure. If you're using the darker green, it may be a little too dark for you. So just lighten your pressure up a little bit. Don't worry about it. You can always go over it again and again. I think that's the one thing about colored pencils that is not very well known. You can kind of work with it and work with it until you get the desired color that you have or that you'd like. All right, so I've gone all the way around the contour of my pear using circular motions, both again having the effect of blending the color in and taking away those sharp lines. All right, so I kind of want to do the same thing through the rest of the pear. But what I'm going to do with this, instead of the circular motions, I'm going to go ahead and continue this big, broad stroke around the first circle of the pear and then the bottom circle of the pear. So I'm going to work on the top first towards the center with pretty hard pressure, and then lighten the pressure. And I am going to go across that white part very, very softly. All right, and then on the other side, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to work with a bit of pressure towards the center, kind of blending all those hard strokes in and almost covering the white light source highlight. Okay, so that's the top. All right, and now the bottom. Go ahead and blend. And again, you're gonna have to probably play with it, but I'm using a little bit of harder pressure here. And then I'm gonna work in towards the center, but lightening the pressure that I'm using all the way in. Lighten your grip, lighten your pressure, and then go back over to the other side. Same thing, blend from the side to the center. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna just make sure that we've got some dimension in there that we really kind of want for our pear. We're gonna do that by adding some orange, some red, and some black. All right, so we're just gonna blend all the way into the center, lightening the pressure so that that light source looks like it's highlighted the center of the pear directly straight on. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add some red, brown, and maybe a little bit of orange to this pear, believe it or not. So we're gonna add some orange kind of towards the edge of the pear. And you can do this in a little bit of a fuzzy circular motion, maybe a little crosshatch, but not too sharp. Those crosshatches, we tried to blend those back out of the pear, so don't get too many sharp lines in there. So I would prefer mine to be like a fuzzy circular motion all the way down the side of the pear. This one is orange, and then I'm gonna pick up red, believe it or not. Red is, all it's gonna do is it's gonna add to the green, so it doesn't look like it's a true green, like it's got lots of complex color in there. So the red, I'm gonna have a lot wider strokes going towards the center. And this one is just going to be a couple lines here and there. And at the bottom, I can thicken it up a little bit because that's where the shading is. And going up again towards the other side. And yes, we will blend this in at the end so that if you have any harsh lines, we'll get rid of those. All right, so that's the red. All right, a little bit of red, a little bit of orange. All right, and go ahead and pick up your, I don't know if I said brown, but I want to go ahead and do black. Black is really important for shading, and we're going to do the thinnest little fuzzy line all the way around the pear. But when we get to the base of the pear, you can make it nice and thick. So we'll just make fuzzy circles all the way down on the base of the pear. And trust me, we'll blend this in later. If you're just doing small circles, we'll blend all that in later. Nice illusion that the pear has some shade and depth to it. And I'm gonna go around the corner or the outside of the other side, some fuzzy circles. And then I think I am gonna crisp up the pear by some nice sharp black outlines. We'll put a little bit of color at the end outside the pear, so don't worry about anything that's messy. We'll clean it all up later. Okay, so now for the very end, what we're gonna do is we are gonna pick up the yellow again. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna work from the black, and we're gonna cross over all that orange and red that we laid down, and we're just going to do a nice thick pressure, blending the black, the orange, and the red with that yellow. And it won't look yellow, it will look green, especially when you are pulling the piece of artwork away from your eyes. It will definitely, you'll think it will look yellow, but it doesn't. It will blend right into that the thought that the brain has that this is a green pear, not a yellow one. So as you can see, there's a lot of complex colors going on this pear that in the beginning, when I said we would use certain colors, you may have questioned it, but at a glance, it looks like a green pear. Towards the end, depending on what kind of green you have, you can go over the yellow one more time, and then maybe into the center just a little bit. Personally, I feel like there should be a little bit more shade at the bottom, so I'm gonna pull that up, making my pencil a little bit more horizontal towards the page than anything. And then you can always blend, blend, blend over the top as much as you can. All right, so then at the end, what you can do is you can actually make pock marks inside your pear with black, and sometimes red will work too. And this again is, it really feels very strange to do this, but at a glance, it will make the pear look like it's got a lot more dimension than it does. At the top, you can draw a stem if you would like with brown. I did a circle and then just 2 parallel lines, and then I'm gonna go over with some black, and then maybe a touch of green, just for it to have that look. And then at the very end, if you are finished and you are happy with your work, I would I'm gonna take a blue, and I'm gonna take the blue and I'm gonna take it with horizontal strokes away from the pear and just lay it down on the page as if it were sitting on a table or a surface that was in the background. I'm gonna go a little bit lighter towards the top of the page, just so there's something for the green to contrast off of. Blue and green always contrast off of each other very nicely. They're in the same color family, the cool color family. And then I'm gonna go on the bottom and on the other side, and that will just kind of finish up the piece of artwork in the perspective of the viewer, because once you have the object on the page, it is always kind of nice for the eye to have just something in the background so that the focus remains on the object and not negative space or white space. And I think we're done. So I hope you enjoyed. You guys have a wonderful day.